Hello everyone! So, do you want to learn HTML in 35 minutes? Well, then this video is for you. So, just stick around and watch it, and yes, let's get started.
So, first things first, before we start, what is HTML? So you can think of HTML as the skeleton of a website. It's a structure that holds all the content in place, and without HTML, your website wouldn't have any text, images, or links. Basically, it would have nothing. So now, as you can see, I use Visual Studio Code to write my code, but you can use whichever code editor that you would like. But for this instance, I'm going to go through it a little bit. And also, if you decide to use Visual Studio Code, I would recommend you install the Go Live server. So I can show you real quickly where you can install it. So you can click here where it says extensions, and then you can search for it. I have it here, as you can see, but if you don't have it, you can search it like this, and then it's this one, and you just click on it and then click install if you don't already have it installed. So now to get started, we can open up file over here and then open folder, and I can just go here and click a new folder, and let's say call it HTML basics, and then we click on it and click choose the folder. And also, if this comes up and it's you that created the folder, you can click yes, it's just the author. So now you can click a new file and then write index.html like that. And now you created your HTML file. So this is where we'll be writing in. So let's first create the most basic HTML structure. So let's start. So here, as you can see, if you use Visual Studio Code, you can do it automatically like this. But if you don't use Visual Studio Code, we can also write it ourselves. So then we write like this, and then HTML. Then we write head, and in here we can write the title. Let's see, hello world, and then underneath there we can write the body, and there we can say do an h1 tag, which is hello world, and p, which says hello, like that. So let me quickly break this down. This doc type says that to the web browser that this is an HTML document. And as you can see here, HTML is the root inside of the page. This is where everything goes. And inside the head is where the information about the page goes, like the title, which we have written here. And then the body is where everything visible goes, like the h1 tag, which is currently a title, and the p tag, which is like a paragraph, which we're going to go into a little bit more in the next video. But yes, so this is the basic structure of an HTML document. And now we can see how it looks if we click on Go Live. And so here you can see how it looks. Now you can see that it doesn't have styling or anything, but that's something that we're going to go through in the future.
So, moving on to the most important part of any website, the text. Let's get started. So we can start off with the headings, which is basically like the title or the bigger text inside of a website. So you can make a heading all the way from h1, as you can see, to h 6 like this. And now we can go through how to do it so you can see how it looks and how it works, and also follow along if you want to at the same time. So let's see. Basically, what you can see, or what you're going to see, is that the H1 is the biggest one, and then it goes smaller and smaller and smaller until the smallest. So now I can show you how it looks if we click on go live. And so now you can see how it looks. As you can see, this is the H1, this is H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. And all of this is without any styling, so it's without the CSS, which we're going to go through in a later video. Now we're going to go through the paragraphs, which is the rest of the text, like the smaller text. So now we are back inside of our Visual Studio Code, and we're going to write underneath these beautiful H tags, we're going to write P, and then we can write something like hello world. So now we can go back to our web browser and see how it looks. So now you can see here is the paragraph, and yes, I can also show you a little quick how it could look in reality inside of a web page. So now we can do it a little bit more realistically. So we continue having the H1 tag, and we can write this is about me, for example, and then say then we save, and then we click go live again. And here is how it looks. So this is the H1, and this is the H2, and the paragraphs. So yes, now you have learned about the paragraphs and the texts and headings inside of HTML. So now moving on, we're going to go through links, images, and also videos on your website. So let's get started. So let's start off with links, or also called A tags. So these are basically links that connect your website to another website. And how we do this is by writing an A tag and then writing the URL inside of it, and then a text or an image or so on that is going to link this. So I can show you this with an example. So now I'm going to write A, and we write href equals. Now, just for this example, we're going to take youtube.com, because why not? And then we can write this is YouTube. And then we can click go live. This is how it should look, and when you click here, it takes you to youtube.com. So now I'm going to show you another little trick with the links. So if you want your link to open in a new tab, you can also write target equals and then blank. So this makes so that the user doesn't leave your website when he clicks on the link. So now I'm gonna show you how it looks if we click go live. So now I can show you how it looks if we click on this is YouTube. Now it opens in the new tab. So now let's move on to images, because what would a website be without images, of course. And let's delete our little link here. Instead we're gonna write img, and then we're gonna write src instead, which is how the document can find the image and also save an image that you want to use in your website in the same folder as the index file that you have. So I just saved an elephant image, as you can see here, and then I'm going to write elephant, oh there it is, but to page. And then I recommend, if the image isn't showing for some reason, then you can write an alt tag, which is what shows if the image isn't showing, which I am going to write an elephant, but you can write whatever you want, but something that describes the image that you are doing. So then you click go live, and here you can see how it looks. So this is without the styling and everything, which, as I've already said the previous, we're going to go through in future videos. And yeah, very beautiful. So now moving on, you can also add a video to your website. You can do this by writing video like that, and then writing width 400, and then writing controls. And now you also should have the video inside of the HTML basics folder, so you can find it easily. And then instead of the video tag, you can write source src equals, and then we can write my video, I call it flower.mp4, so I just wrote flower.mp4, and then you can write type equals video slash mp4, and then you close it. And now you click on save, and then we click go live. And then here you can see the results, so you can see the video up here and all the controls, so you can put on the sound, which it doesn't have right now, and make it a big screen if you want that. So now, as a little bit of a bonus, because I am nice like that, we can go through how to embed a YouTube video inside of your website. Because, for example, if you have a YouTube channel and then you want to show your YouTube video, or show a YouTube video on some type of instruction or something like that. So first we're gonna take away the video like that. So for example, in my first YouTube video, we click share, and then here is where it says embed, and then you can see the wings, which we use in HTML, and then we click here. You can see the code, and then you can also click if you want to show player control or not. But let's just click that one, and then we can click copy. So now we are back in our index.html file, so you can just click paste in here, and yes, it's a very long one, but we can click Ctrl S, and now we click go live. So now here it is, and yeah, you can play it basically on your website. And also, for some more information, usually if you have more images or more videos to structure your folder a little bit more, you can add a new folder and call it like images and then put the images inside so that you keep your structure in your workspace. And if you have multiple videos, the same goes there as well. Have you ever wondered how websites make menus, steps, or checklists? It's all just HTML lists. And now I'm going to show you how they work in just a couple of minutes. So let's start with some unordered lists. And you'll see really soon how and why they are called unordered lists. So you start with writing an UL, which I have done right now. And then inside of this UL, you click this one and then write LE. And then you can write the item 1. And then you can copy this one, paste it underneath, and write item 2. And then item 3 for an example. And now we save and then click go live. So as you can see, this is an unordered list, and that is basically when there are dots there instead of numbers. So it's not 1, 2, 3, it's just dots. And now to make an order list, you simply write OL, and then also down here OL, and then click save and click on go live again. And here you can see the order list. It simply goes 1, 2, 3. And yes, that is how you make lists. So it's very basic and simple. And you probably think like, but what can I use this for, and so on. But this is actually used a lot of times in websites, like in the headers, in the footers, in different types of playlists, and so on. That is usually made up of lists. Now, we are giving your page a real structure with HTML divs, spans, and layout tags that holds everything together in its place. So you can think of a div like a container. It's like a box that holds a group of elements together, and it doesn't change how things look, but it helps to organize your layout and also later to use in your styling. So I can show you an example of how to use a div, and then you write div and then close it. And inside of this one, you can write whatever you want inside of it. So let's say hello world for this example. So basically, what this div does is it connects everything inside of it and makes it like a box. So you can change the styling of this whole thing and move it around and so on. So now we can talk about span. So basically, span is like, for example, you have a p tag and then it says hello world, and then inside of here we can write span, the close, and then we copy this and put it here. So now basically what you can do with the span is you can change the styling of this specific word. So if you, for example, want it to have a different color or have a different font and so on, you'll be able to do that. So now we have gone through divs and spans. So let's talk about like the bigger brother for divs and spans. And this is semantic tags, which you'll see really soon how it works. So you write header. So here you can write h1 and then hello. And then you can have main in here. And inside of main you can write section. And then let's say hello world. And also you can also have article and write, for example. And then underneath the main you can write the footer. And then write like copyright, for example. So what these tags do is they basically tell the website browser what every tag is and where it's supposed to be. And this also helps your website and the structure of your website, and also the CEO of your website. And also, this is very good for when you are going to style your website later on. So now we can see how it looks if I go live. Now, as you can tell, it didn't really change the styling of the website, but this is really helpful for the web browser to know what every part is, and also it's going to help you a lot when you're going to go into the styling, which we're going to go through in a later video. So now I'm going to show you how to create tables in HTML. So let's start off with writing table, which basically is the frame that holds all the tables inside of it. And then inside of there you can write tr, which stands for table row, and inside of the table row you can write td, which stands for the table data cells. And then inside of here you can write, for example, phone, and then a new one, and write computer, TV, some electronics, and then we click on go live. Okay, so as you can see, you can't see anything, but these are actually tables, and I can show you just for this example how you can do so that you can see how it actually looks when it's going to be styled later. So now for this example, just to show you how it basically will look, you can write border equals 1 and then click save, and then click on your website again. And now, as you can see, when you refreshed it, you can see the borders around it and see that it has become a table. Then we can delete the TDs and instead write TH, which basically means the table heading, and that is like the header of the table. Again, computer, and we just copy this underneath and write 3 ones, for example, and let's save it. And so now you can see it has become a fat style, and this is basically table heading. Alright, so now let's combine what we have learned today. So we can keep this one and then we copy it. So you click copy and then we paste it right here and then that. And then you change these ones to TDs again. And then click save. And now, as you can see, this is the table heading, and then underneath is the input, the data inside of it, basically. And this is how you make tables in HTML. So far, your website's just been, well, silent. Now let's change that. It's time to make your website talk back to you with HTML forms. So let's start off with writing for, and then inside of here you can write label for equals name, and then inside of here you can write name, and then you can write the input, and the type is a text, and we can write the ID equals name. Now ID is something that we're going to go through a little bit more in future video. I think it's in the next video that I'm going to go through that. But basically ID is used for both in the CSS to style your website, and then after we click save, we click go live. And now, as you can see, here is the label and here is the input where you can write things like and so on. And you can also change the input types for different things. So let's write that right now so you can see how it could look. Label. So, and now you can click save, and let's check out our website. And now, as you can see, here are our form so far. And basically, this is not going to look like this later on when you have styled it, but this is how it looks currently. And now, something else that I'm going to show you, which is pretty interesting, is inside of the input place, you can instead write placeholder, and then, for example, write Peterson, then click save. And then, as you can tell in here, you can see it says Peter Peterson, and then when you start typing, it goes away. So this is basically just for the user to see what to write inside of the input. And so, to finish off our form, which is probably the most important thing because this is how you will later on be able to save the information that the person has input into the form, you will have to have a button tag. So let's write button type equals submit because they submit the form, and then you can write submit and click save. And so now, as you can see, we have a button inside of here, which it doesn't do anything right now, but later on I'm going to show you how to make this one work. So now we're going to go through HTML attributes. So what are attributes? You can think of attributes like an extra information that you add inside of your HTML tag to control how they work or how they look. Like, for example, links need a URL, images need a source, and attributes make that possible. So let's start off with some global attributes. So, for example, we can write a div hello, and then inside of here, you can write class equals hello, and ID equals hello box. So basically what these do later on is that you can style with them. So these will help a lot in CSS. So now we can have a little refresh because these are also actually attributes. So let's start off with writing an A href equals and then the link. So this is also an attribute. And also if you write target equals and then blank, which we've gone through in another video previously. And let's see. And if you do not remember what these attributes did, they basically create the link so that it goes to YouTube, and also the target one, it takes it to another browser. And as we have also gone through in another video, we also have the image tags, which have the attributes src, the equals, and now I have an image in here, and we write the images slash elephant, and also alt equals an elephant. These two are also attributes inside of an HTML tag. And if you don't remember what the alt tag did, it basically shows the text an elephant if the image is not displayed or if the website is lagging. So the last attribute I'm going to show you is in the form action equals slash submit and method equals post. Basically, the action part tells the browser where to send the data, and the method parts tells the browser how to send the data. Your web page looks fine, right? But behind the scenes, it might be completely brain dead. So let's fix that today with HTML head section. So what does the head section of your website actually do? It is basically like the control center of your website. It doesn't show up on the page, but it tells the browser everything it needs to know about your page. So, for example, this part where it says title hello world, and we click go live. So as you can see, the title tells the browser that your website is called hello world, which makes it pop up there. And basically all of the title, settings, metadata, and all the smart stuff goes inside of the head tag. You can see that meta tags are tiny pieces of information that helps browsers, search engines, and devices to understand your website. If you write meta charset equals UTF-8, then we close it. Basically what this does is it basically makes sure that all of your text on your website displays correctly, and also emojis as well. Then we also have meta name equals viewport, content equals width equals device width, initial scale equals 1. And I know that this seems like a lot, and also I've got to close it. But I know that this one seems like a lot, but it basically just makes your website responsive, like it works on a mobile screen. And then we also have meta name equals description, content equals learn HTML basic. And what this one does is it basically tells the web browser what your website is about, and it also helps SEO, which we're going to go through as well in a future video. And also inside of the head tag, you also use your link, for example, for your style sheet, which is the CSS, and then you write rel equals style sheet, which basically describes what it is, and href equals style.css, which we do not have at the moment, but in the next video we're going to go through CSS. Also, if you are using some kind of icon, you can also write it like this in here. They call it icon, and write href equals icon dot SVG, for example, if you have one. But yes, so that is basically the head tag, and it might look invincible, and you may think that you do not see it, so maybe it's not important, but this is basically what the web browser is reading through. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that you have learned about HTML, and like and subscribe, and also comment down below if you have any questions or any feedback for me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!